So you can see Krill has a crazy PB of 16:45. He's 4th place total in this category. And if you look at all his race times, his slowest one was a 23 minute, and all his other ones are around 20 minutes or under 20 minutes. So he's very consistent with his time here.
And Buddy as well, only one time significantly above 24 minutes. And then 124, and the rest are around 21, 22.
Yeah, so just looking at these numbers here, it looks like Krill is more consistent at being faster. But, you know, anything can really happen, because if Krill gets a slow time by his standards and Buddy gets a more faster time by his standards, like, that's all it will take. Okay.
Yeah, and as well, if either of these racers happen to fall into the abyss on the key split, that will set them back by 2 or 3 minutes and give the other racer a significant advantage with catching up. So even at that point, you know, you can't really count anyone out till the Olmec split.
Yeah, definitely. And even then, you can't really count anyone out on the Olmec split. We've seen so many times where someone was just starting the key split, and when the other person they were racing against was on Olmec, and they caught up and won. Just because of how badly the temple treated them.
Yeah, we have what we call safe strats on Olmec, which you saw in the first race, which is place a bomb, wait, place the next bomb, wait. And there was a running gag a previous time that we did an ASO race, a tournament, where safe strats always failed. Called safe strats, but I think out of everyone that attempted it, only 2 people successfully won with safe strats on the first try. So even if you're doing everything you can to be safe and consistent, Spelunky is a harsh mistress.
Yes, Spelunky is a very harsh mistress. That basically sums up the game. Spelunky is a harsh mistress.
It's like the Dark Souls of platformers. Including permadeath.
Yeah, well, it's funny because what's the world record for beating Spelunky? Like 1 minute and 39 seconds?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can beat it in less than a few minutes, really.
That's in-game time, not real time.
Yeah, in-game time. But yeah, you could beat it in a few minutes, but really it takes probably like 50 hours of playtime for most people to beat it for their first time. Which is kind of incredible. Just like the learning curve, I guess, for this game. And it doesn't hold your hand, and every death just seems fair for the most part, you know?
Well...
not entirely.
World record for this game is 1 minute 39.716 seconds.
Yeah, but that is again, that's using a teleporter.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to get a time like it's very hard really to get a time like that.
Yeah, we have a tool-assisted temple run, and that was, I think, 50-ish seconds to get that done. Tool-assisted. And even that, it was amazing layouts. It was everything manually seated on a level-by-level basis.
Yeah.
And that's something else. You may have noticed that they're not running through the same layouts. This is a game where every level is seated independently of everything else. So the odds of having 2 identical levels are basically so slim as to be not worth considering.
It seemed like Buddy's time was a little slow to start there. Oh well.
Yeah, you'll notice the stream is our pausing here, and that is us trying to get the 2 times lined up. Now, Buddy's time started a few seconds late, and I did not catch how many seconds difference it was.
Yeah.
But hopefully it won't come down to 3 or 4 seconds at the end of this race, and it won't end up mattering.
Yeah, I mean, if it does come down to that, we'll make sure that we count the right times and stuff like that. But it most likely won't come down to just that few seconds. We've never really had a race that comes down to less than 10 seconds, I think. But we'll see. I mean, it could happen.
It would be amazing if it did. And very exciting. But the odds of it happening are just incredibly slow. Slow? Incredibly low. We have both of our racers exiting the tutorial at exactly the same time. I think that's the first time we've seen that. 1:23 for the tutorial time. Tutorial time ends when the big door opens. The world record for the tutorial is, I think, 1:15 and change with the teleporter.
I think it's...
and the average tutorial time on this is 1:18. So 1:22, 1:23 is still pretty good. Is it 14 now?
Yeah. I used to have the tutorial world record because I found a teleporter in the mystery box. But then Kenny, the guy who has most of the world records in this game, he has like 45 of them or something like that. Some crazy number. He started grinding the tutorial and did the same strat as me, except he did it way smoother. So he beat me out by like a second.
Yeah, the current tutorial world record is 1:14.771 with a teleporter.
Yeah, so if anyone's wondering, you know, how can you beat the tutorial world record at this point, the only way we can think of now is if you happen to find a teleporter in a block just randomly on probably the first level of the tutorial.
Yeah, crust teleporter is basically how it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever really talked about it, but yeah, items can spawn inside blocks. You can't see them unless you have either the Ujat eye or specs, so you wouldn't know if an item was in there unless you had those items. But you can still obviously just bomb a block and it could fall out if it happens to be there.
Now we saw a great example of Krill cooking a bomb on this rope split on 1-1, where he put the bomb down, realized it was the wrong side, picked it up and ran with it across the level to put it down where he wanted it to be. And I just saw a jetpack at that shop at the top of 1-3, but he was already past it, so he's not going to go back for that one. But that's a strategy, cooking a bomb, that skilled players are able to use really well, because they know the mechanics, they know the timing on it, you just sort of have a feel for it after a while, and you can hear it. That allows us to go much faster than people who don't have that experience and don't have that skill nailed down.
Yeah, I think cooking bombs is probably one of the most useful skills that you can learn in this game. Just for, you know, it can save a lot of time in certain areas, and also just for throwing it up at the mothership or the black market, and also the tutorial.
Yeah, the other thing that a lot of players do is they underestimate the value of the whip. The whip is actually a fantastic tool that when you learn to use it to its full ability, such as canceling ledge grabs, whip use is essential for getting a fast time on what we call low percent.
Yeah, the whip is actually, it's such a good item, and I mean, you start with it, you always have it, and just, it's so good, and that's what makes the key split actually a little harder, is because when you're holding the key, you can't use your whip. So you'll be grabbing the ledges, you actually, with the whip, you can hit people from behind you if you do it right, and also you can hit people from above using the whip. So it's very Excuse me. It's very versatile. But with the key, you can't do that.
You can also whip arrows so that they don't hurt you, which we just saw Buddy do a couple times in his mines levels. So
Yeah,
the whip really a fantastic tool.
There are a few ways to deal with those arrow traps, but yeah, whipping the arrow is a skill that is for very advanced Spelunky players. It's hard to learn that timing, but once you learn it, it's so fun to just whip all the arrow traps. And you can actually back whip arrows too. That's harder to time, but yeah.
And the timing is also different. The spacing required to whip an arrow, rather, is different if you're doing it from below and if you're doing it from above. So there's a lot of intricacies to this game that as you play and you learn them, it makes the game just that much more interesting.
And there's a lot of ways to deal with arrow traps. I mean, we've probably seen it here. I don't know if we said anything about it, but you'll see players dropping ropes in front of the arrow traps, and that'll activate them. You'll see them throw any item, pots, the key even will activate it. Anything activates an arrow trap if it falls in its way. Well, pretty much anything.
Yeah, we saw Speth whipping gold to activate an arrow trap in his races.
Even gold activates it, which is really cool. I love that mechanic.
The arrow traps trigger from basically any motion in front of them, including shopkeepers. So if there's an arrow trap in front of a shop and the shopkeeper wanders out too far because they're already on edge, then you can get level aggro from an arrow trap that you had nothing to do with.
Yeah, another funny way of getting aggro is you can just happen to have a cobra, like the spitting cobra, spawn on that same floor as the shopkeeper, so he can just go and spit on the shopkeeper and damage him, and he'll get mad at you. He'll call you a terrorist and then be mad at you for the rest of your game life.
Krill just got aggro on 2-3 on his second jungle split here. Presumably because an orange frog blew up too close to the shop. Which again,
it's another way of
had nothing to do with.
Silly aggro. It can happen. It's just random, no reason aggro, and they get mad at you for it. It's kind of funny. It ruins a lot of runs, but it's something that happens. That's the nature of this game.
Buddy getting an immediate black market on one of his rope split levels at the end of 2-3.
Yeah. That's one of the situations where it saves a lot of time, because you're basically exiting the level as soon as you enter it.
Oh, but he's down to a tiki trap at a ladder there.
Yeah, so that is not one of the ways to save time.
No, Buddy getting some poor luck with this jungle today. Now, we commented earlier that the black market is basically a safe level. There is one exception, which is boomerang men will sometimes aggro the shopkeepers when you are not even on screen. Or again, orange frogs can get knocked by tiki traps and explode in the shop. So it's a known layout which allows you to go faster, and it's relatively safe. But just like everything else in this game, it's not quite a guarantee.
Oh no, Buddy. He just fell into some spikes on 2-3, so he's well behind now.
The Krill found a black market for his 2-4 level on the shotgun split, which is really fortunate for him because he doesn't even have to carry the shotgun at all after this level. So he has the resources to do a triple delivery. Hopefully, he'll be able to pull that off again on this second round.
Yeah, he has a buttload of bombs. He can just use them as many as he wants, pretty much. And that's what he's going to do.
Collecting the Ankh once again. And tucking a bomb into that corner. Do you want to talk a bit about why you would tuck a bomb in this game?
So, you can't really get the bomb as close as possible to the wall unless you pick it back up and tuck it into the corner. And doing that actually extends the blast radius just by a little bit. So it ensures that you can bomb through, I guess, is it still 2 blocks? But it's just 2 blocks in that corner.
Yeah, the radius doesn't change, but because you're changing the center point, it can take out more tiles because it's a little more precisely positioned. So instead of taking out 2 tiles in most directions, it takes out 2 tiles in every direction.
Yeah, it's very useful for situations like Krill is in, or if you're doing a score run, it's very useful in the score run because you want to use your bombs as optimal as possible. Oh my gosh.
Oh. That chain reaction, though.
Yeah.
Krill entering the mothership to begin the second part of his triple delivery. And he has plenty of ropes, so unless he goes down here, we should see another successful triple delivery from Krill. Now, if this triple delivery fails, there is another strat which allows you to still not have to use the Ice Caves shortcut at all, which is you can... Bit of a risky play there from Krill.
Oh,
and
man.
down he...
Yes, but luckily he has that Onk, so he can come back to life and on the same level and try again. And what's nice is he's aggroed the shopkeeper now, so he doesn't have to deal with him at the top anymore, because he started running around and fell more towards the bottom. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Man, that mothership was crazy, but he made it through.
And now all he has to do is not use 2 or more ropes. And this will be a successful triple delivery for him. As I started commenting earlier, I got rudely interrupted by Spelunky happening. The other way to avoid using the Ice Cave shortcut is instead of resetting in the Ice Caves, if you die after the bomb delivery, you can go all the way back and start the key split.
Oh yeah.
And then make the rope delivery as part of that. And then you get the same number of resets. You just happen to have a longer duration for the rope delivery.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't recommend that strategy in a race setting because carrying the key through the mothership is pretty hard, and you need a lot of resources to do it easily, and a jetpack always helps, but yeah, it can be a little faster, but I personally don't think that that potential time save is worth the risks in a race. Because if you lose it in the mothership, that's way too much time lost.
So we just saw Buddy do what we call a moonwalk, get across the gap at the top of the mothership. And one of the other uses of a whip is if you whip and move backwards, you get a little bit of a hop. And you can use that to walk across a 2-tile gap rather than having to jump. And that is sometimes necessary in order to safely traverse a level. Krill on a key split with a shop with a perfect score run setup.
Yeah.
And a second Matic.
Yeah,
Man.
if you're wondering what a perfect score run setup is, it's basically just anything that... First you need a jetpack, and you also want a lot of bombs, and also Matics. That's basically what a score run is. Just so you can destroy all those blocks.
So we commented earlier that you don't usually take a jetpack on this split. Or sorry, you don't usually rob a shop on this split unless there's a jetpack. That shop had a jetpack. So this is absolutely the right time to rob that shop.
Yeah, not only that, it actually had a bomb box, which has 12 bombs in it. So having those extra bombs is so useful when you're holding the key. So Krill is in an amazing position right now.
Yeah, it looks like Krill is set up for another really fast run here, provided he doesn't unexpectedly take a death.
Ooh, this is a tough situation. But that bomb, that was a really nice placed bomb. He handled that super well. perfect for destroying that Tiki and the shopkeeper for 2-1.
Alright, so Buddy has just made his third rope delivery, which means he is now beginning his key split. He's about 6 levels behind, and Krill has a jetpack, but an unexpected death by Krill, and this will all turn around for him.
Yeah, I think Buddy at this point needs an unexpected death. If you just saw that, there was a hired hand with a shotgun running around, and the hired hands have a tendency to use their items for seemingly no reason, and a shotgun in their hands can be dangerous because they can just decide to shoot you with it for no reason. So he threw him into the spikes.
Yeah, hired hands are supposed to be helpful in this game, but we find more frequently than not that they're basically just there to kill you. So we usually tend to avoid getting them, because they're just not worth the aggravation.
Yeah, there has been times where the hired hand has run up to me with a machete and just swang at me, and there's nothing around me, but...
Now we actually just saw Krill narrowly escape an unexpected death from that Boomerang Man. The Boomerang Man, the Tiki Man, will throw his will throw his boomerang at you, and depending on how the timing is, you could get juggled by it, and every time you bounce, you take another damage. So if he'd gotten caught by that Tiki Man, if he hadn't had the iframes going through, that could have been really bad for him. But he got through safely and is now on his way through the ice caves blisteringly fast.
He is on a really great pace here, and he's probably not going to go through the mothership this time, because he doesn't want to restart, because he has just so many good resources here that he can bring it on through the temple and take out Olmec even faster. And we're looking at a sub 19 pace here.
So Krill is now on Olmec. That arrow bouncing is dangerous.
Yeah. And
the arrows are significantly more dangerous than they first look, because they don't have to hit you directly. They can bounce into you and still do damage, depending how fast they're going.
Oh. Krill is knocked out by the shopkeeper at the exit, that level. Not a devastating blow, because he's already turned in the key. So he just needs to go back through the shortcut, but he doesn't have all those resources that he had. But that is perfectly fine. He's still well ahead.
Yeah, if he was going to take a death, that's the time to take it.
Yeah.
Because he lost basically nothing dying there. He lost about 10 seconds having to reset and go through the temple shortcut.
Yeah, but really that's not the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, the resources as well were lost, but time-wise, he just lost a few seconds.
Yeah. So, you know, we could still see Krill dying here on this 4-3 or even on Olmec, and that might be enough to get Buddy to catch up at this point, because he's on the ice caves with the key. So it could happen. It's happened plenty of times before in this tournament. We'll see. This level is treating Krill really poorly.
Yeah, Krill having to navigate around 2 Tiki traps, some enemies. Avoid a lava man at the bottom there. The lava man will deal damage, but if he had fallen in the lava, that would have been an immediate death, because he does not have the item that you can get in Hell to stop that from happening. But instead, he is now onto Olmec on probably sub 20 pace here.
Alright, and he's doing that 3 bomb strat that you mentioned before that he didn't do last run. But yeah, he could still die here. He only has 1 rope, so he can't use a lot of ropes to fight off enemies. But this should be enough. Oh no! Okay, he has 1 health left.
Takes a hit, but stays up.
Okay, he did it.
And with that, Krill takes the second round and the winning round of this semi-final race against Buddy the Elf. So Krill will advance to the finals. Buddy will advance to the bronze medal race, which will start in just a couple minutes.